Have you ever considered renting your motorcycle but maybe a little bit hesitant because you are not familiar with what the risks may be? Stay tuned for an interview with the head of claims for RiderShare, one of the platforms for renting your personal motorcycle. Bravo y dobrodošli, bom dia, bem-vindos, servus, willkommen, buenos dias, bienvenidos, greetings riders, and welcome to a very interesting interview with the head of claims of RiderShare, one of those new, fairly new, riding, motorcycle rental, sharing platforms. So if any of you are considering in renting your motorcycle and would kind of like to know more what the risks are and how that process all works if your bike ever gets damaged, what the percentages are, stay tuned. This interview might be very enlightening or insightful for you. I had a chance to rent my XR650L, and it was rented by a gentleman who happened to work for RiderShare. This is not a sponsored interview. I was paid for my rental just like everybody would pay normally to rent a motorcycle. It was taken down to Baja even for a few days, and on the drive to the train station where I dropped him off, I had a chance to sit down, because we're driving, and talk about what the risks are. So we'll do this very informally. Name and rank, please.
My name is Alton Savoy. I have many different hats and titles. I can range anywhere between head claims adjuster to customer service rep to business development representative to marketing agent.
What does a claim adjuster do? What do you do in that position?
So whenever somebody has the unfortunate accident of getting their bike returned with damage, they submit a claim, and I'm the one who handles the claims that get adjusted in-house. So that's probably 2/3 to 3/4 of the claims. Anything that's minor to moderate damage, anything that's severe to total loss, we have a separate company that we contract out for those claims, since they have a better setup to do the title transferring and all that other stuff.
And so how old is the company, and how did you get involved?
Company's about 4.5 years old now. Started February of 17. I got involved about February of 19 when I met the CEO, Guillermo, and they weren't hiring at the time, but him and I kind of clicked, and we would go riding together. And eventually, when they were able to secure more demand, because at that point COVID had just hit, it was February of 19. They were expecting to hire, but with COVID, they put on a pause. So I didn't get hired until May, when they saw that demand was going to go back up. And from there, I started with mostly customer service and sales development. So working with dealers, shops, and overseeing some of the claims that come in. And at that time, we were using the third-party handler for 100% of the claims rather than doing them in-house. And then about 3 months in, they paid me to get my adjuster's license because they knew that I was mechanically inclined, and they sent me to get the adjuster's license so I could obviously take care of the claims in-house. And once I got that done, started adjusting claims, and since then the claims volume has nearly quadrupled, but the claim rate has declined.
So more users, basically, much more
exactly.
users.
Just goes to show that the more riders that we get, it just shows that the more experienced and better riders they are coming to the site. And so at this point, we've consistently kept a less than 1% claims rate with all the bookings that we've had since I joined. Since I started.
Less than 1%. That's impressive. Yeah. So that means less than 1% of bookings result in some kind of insurance claim for damages, etc. So,
go ahead.
So that's pretty impressive. Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed. But
and I was going to say, keep in mind that of that less than 1%, 2/3 to 75% of that is, a drop on the side of a standstill or some other type of minor to moderate damage. Only 1/4 of the claims to 1/3 of the claims actually is severe damage that might constitute a total loss.
So let's actually start with clarifying that this isn't promotional, this isn't sponsored in any way. You did pay me, but you paid me personally for renting my bike.
Correct.
And that's how we actually met.
Yeah, this wasn't on the rider share dime. It wasn't like a sponsored trip or anything.
Okay, great. That's important to clarify. You contacted me, you rented my Honda XR 650L, and then we had a beer when you came to pick it up, and that was enjoyable. And now I'm driving you to the train and then the airport. You flew in from New York this time?
Yeah.
Cool. Mm-hmm. How did you like the bike? And what did you say? You went to Mexico, huh?
Mm-hmm. So the bike was incredibly well maintained, ran like a charm. Absolutely not a single time did it even give me a second thought of it letting me down. I took it first through the Cleveland National Forest because I came up to get the paperwork from Mexico, and so from Oceanside I went up to, was it Pomona Mountain? Palomar Mountain.
Palomar.
And then from there I went south towards the Cleveland National Forest. I forget which, Coral Canyon OHV area is where I camped the first night. Great riding there, absolutely. I didn't do any of the trails because from talking with the people that had just gone into camp on their KTM EXCs, the trails were pretty gnarly for them. So I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna.
You were pretty heavy the way you were loaded too.
Yeah,
with
I was
the luggage,
super heavy. So I got into camp around like 5 p.m., 5:30, right before the sun was about to set. So
yeah, that's the benefit of. So why don't you actually tell me what is the benefit for riders? Let's say those who are thinking of joining as renters. So I have a bike. Mm-hmm. I'm hesitant to have it rented out, but this puts me at ease because you said that less than 1% actually come back to you as a claims adjuster. So what is the benefit of me as a renter and me as the person who is renting?
Yeah, so the benefit to the person that's renting out their motorcycle is that it's going to help pay for itself, if not then some, and it gives you an opportunity to make money in a space that not a lot of people can have the opportunity to work in. There's a lot of people that started with 1 or 2 bikes that now have over a dozen because they had their bikes ultimately pay for themselves and expand their own business.
There's people who treat it like a business?
Oh yeah, 100%.
That's so interesting. That's so interesting. And for example, for renters, it seems like the best part is you can experience motorcycles before buying them or if considering them, because most sellers won't allow you to try them. It's dealers.
There's really several different reasons all to rent motorcycles, whether it's traveling and you're leaving your bike at home, like you're flying across the country, or you want to try out a bike before you buy it. And on that note, say you're doing a Facebook Marketplace Craigslist transaction with a bike, as an owner and as a renter, mention using rideshare, because then you get a day or two to actually test ride it. It's insured, secured, and you really get to know
smart.
the bike
That's interesting.
and trust the renter to take it with them, because rideshare has their information, and having it on the platform keeps it safe, secure, and you really get to experience the bike before you buy it.
That's a very interesting. I didn't even consider that factor. If you're selling the bike and somebody needs to fly in and whatnot, one attractor can be, hey, you can try this bike out for a day. It'll cost you a penny, not a lot at all. But then at least you know what you're getting. So that's pretty cool.
Also, it's also, rideshare is great for the person that used to own motorcycles, but for for whatever reason, whether it was your wife telling you to sell it or kids, whatever, it's great to come back into motorcycling. You can try so many different bikes.
Sure.
And you don't have to worry about the maintenance or the cost of ownership. And, you don't have the bike around, so the wife won't be worried about, it in the garage, taking up her Pilates space or whatever. And yeah, it's just a great way to, use bikes when you want them and not let it get in the way of life, like some bikes can, if it's just sitting around.
Yeah, definitely. The ones that I have in my living room, the wife is going to be very glad to see them out, And actually, I've actually had a little bit of space to breathe these few days that you were taking my bike out, because I could work in the garage and organize it, because normally I can't even get in there. So that's pretty neat. Is there a specific style of motorcycle or a specific bike that's most rented or that's very popular on your website? For people who are considering doing this as a side gig, as a side business, and I don't have a bike, but I'm going to buy one that's very rentable. Do you have something to recommend, or is it anything goes?
Generally speaking, cruisers are the most popular.
Oh, interesting. I wouldn't have guessed, but okay.
Yeah, anything that you could really use for longer trips, and also that style is generally what's most searched for. I can't give you the psychology behind it, but that's what people look for the most. And it's not necessarily Harleys, it's really all cruisers across the board. It could be anything from Yamaha Bolt to, I don't know, a Victory Vegas. Something, as long as it's, a cool bike, and it obviously doesn't even need to be a cool bike, that's subjective, but if it's a good running bike and it's attractive, people will rent it out.
What is the most expensive motorcycle that you recall being listed, and what is the coolest one for you specifically that you've rented, maybe, or that you saw available for rent?
Yeah, so the most expensive was some decked out like Boss Hoss bike, the one that has like the Chevy 350 motor in it, like the V8. That was going for $500, and we have it capped at $500. And I've seen a few bikes go for $500. Like there's one around here, I think in Encinitas, that goes for $500, and it's a 2018 Harley Lowrider S. Granted, the guy has it decked out to the T's, but
and it gets rented and all that?
Nope, has not got rented yet, and I don't really expect it to.
Maybe I should. Yeah, you're giving me ideas now. Maybe I should put my custom cruiser on there. I wouldn't feel so bad if it's $500, because that also, that eliminates a vast majority of folks who are actually going to.
But like if you have it set for like 300, 250, there are people that are willing to pay like $350 for say a Ducati V4 Panigale.
So in closing, you were telling me a story over beer last time when you came to pick up my bike about your experience in Las Vegas. You flew in and you felt, using your words, you needed to do it big, right? So. Oh,
so no, this isn't. I didn't fly in. The story about Vegas is that I was bringing a person's bike from Austin to Vegas. I rode it over 3 or 4 days from Austin throughout the Southwest. Really, really great trip. Gave the guy his bike at the place where I picked up a Harley, and I never rented I never rode a Road Glide before, and it would be this one?
That would be your train. Yeah, we're not going to miss it, but we should keep an eye on it.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I rented a Road Glide for the first time, rode a Road Glide for the first time, and rode all around the Vegas area, and it was incredible. Absolutely.
That's awesome.
The guy's name is Adam. He has a pearl white 2020 Road Glide Special in Henderson, Nevada. Absolutely great guy to work with, and great bike as well. So.
Well, and interesting.
I was going to say, on that note, equally to you, Nicola, you're a fantastic host, and I absolutely appreciate everything you've done.
You even lucked out with my mom's cooking. She was
I
there.
know, that was incredible. It was just broccoli cheddar soup.
Homemade.
Fantastic.
Can't promise it to every renter, but we'll try. Pleasure meeting you, man. Yeah, and I'm glad you had
this train.
You had a chance to ride a little bit of Mexico, and
they even get to see about that.
Thank you as well for explaining to my viewers about the benefits of rider share. So we'll keep in touch, yeah?
Yeah, of course. I will be definitely. I'll let you know next time I'm out in the San Diego area, because I'd love to set aside time to ride.
Yeah, more broccoli cheddar too. So. Safe travels, man. Safe flight.
Yeah, thanks
again. Thank you for watching. I hope this video has been informative in helping you make a decision whether or not you should rent your motorcycle. I certainly will continue to do so. So if you're ever in San Diego, I definitely don't have the most expensive motorcycle for rent, but I do have the nicest and the most powerful custom bagger that you could actually do San Diego in a big way with. And it comes with a hidden passenger seat in case you meet that somebody special at the bar and you want to take home. Thank you for watching. Stay safe. If you like what we're doing here, please consider supporting the channel with the Patreon page linked in the description. And there you'll also find my offerings on RiderShare as well, including this gorgeous American Eagle Talon custom cruiser. Till next time, Nick, I'm out.